like life is getting harder instead of easier? Or wonder how to get back up after life knocks you down? Or how to live more intentionally? These are just some of the big life questions our happiness expert and New York Times bestselling author Neil Pasricha is tackling in his new book, You Are Awesome. So he joins us now.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Thank you.
You're going to teach us some of the wisdom and how to bend and not break.
Right.
And I love the idea of that because I do feel like we are in a situation where everyone walks on eggshells and our kids are not allowed to fail, and when they don't want to try for fear of failing. This is happening with a lot of kids now. We're fragile.
Yeah.
So where did the grit go? Like, how do we get the resilience?
Well, part of the grit is gone because we have it so good. We live in an era of infinite abundance. You can press a button, a car picks you up, your phone entertains you on your way home, and by the time you get home, there's hot ticket on your porch because you ordered it on the way. Like, we got it pretty good. We live in the safest time ever to be alive.
Yes.
And at the same time, Tracy, I think because of that, we no longer have the tools to handle failure or even perceived failure. So now when you get 2 likes on your photo on Instagram, you think, I'm a loser with no friends.
Right.
Even though no one's getting shipped off to war. We're not going through any famine. We don't have any major economic depression. We got it pretty good.
Yeah, we do.
So You Are Awesome. The book is all about how do we thicken our skin? How do we add back some of that grit, and how do we steady ourselves? Because I'm worried about this for not just me, but also my kids. You're a mom. How do our kids who grew up with like 3 pillows on their beds and like a warm, warm dinner every night, how do we make sure that when they go through a divorce, go through a breakup, lose a job, how do we make sure that they're going to be okay? That they aren't so fragile?
You know, the first time I heard this connection between us having it so good and anxiety/depression was when we did a whole show on loneliness.
Yes.
And that's what one of the experts said. He said that things are so good that all of a sudden we are sad.
Yes.
And it's interesting that when you have challenges in life, they actually give you fulfillment and purpose.
Yeah.
So we have to figure out.
And by the way, 1 in 3 college students has clinical anxiety now. It's never been that high. 40% of us live alone, and loneliness has never been higher. Mental illness rates are rising. Suicide rates are rising. So yeah, we live in an era of awesomeness, and yet we don't feel so good about it.
We don't.
So that's what the underpinning of the book is.
Let's talk a little bit about cell phones and our anxieties, because you have a bit to say about that in the book.
Cell phones are a huge problem, Tracy. They're a gigantic problem. There's 3 P's of problems. Physically, we're looking at bright screens before bed. We can't sleep. We don't produce melatonin. That's a problem.
Yep.
Psychologically, we're comparing ourselves to everyone else all the time, and you're never good enough. Right? No matter how good this coffee is, I go on, someone's at a getting some fancy thing made by a barista, and it looks better than mine.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's physical, there's psychological, and there's also the idea that, you know what? There's
productivity.
That's the 3rd one. I totally forgot
productivity.
Look, I've been looking at my cell phone too much. If you look at your cell phone, you're spending 30% of your time bookmarking, prioritizing, and switching between tasks. You're not doing anything anymore.
That's
so
right.
A really big thing in the book, You Are Awesome, is talking about how do we put our phones away? How do we subtract them from our lives and add back more untouchable days where you can walk around on your own? How do we add more nature?
Yes.
We all have NDD, nature deficit disorder, right? And how do you start your day, not with your cell phone, buy an alarm clock at Walmart, you know what I mean? How do you start with a 2-minute morning practice that will get you to be resilient for the day?
Oh, I want to start by talking about that untouchable thing. Like, what's the untouchable day? How does that work?
Because you're so busy. I know. So untouchable days are very important. You need to set 1 day a week where nobody can reach you. You turn your phone off. You turn your computer and internet off. Everyone's laughing.
Freaking out.
I know, because no one thinks.
Turn it off.
Turn it off. Everyone thinks this is impossible. I can't do it. And here's what I say: can you do an untouchable lunch? Can you do an untouchable afternoon? Can you take a few hours away from your job or what you're doing to unplug? And if you can, guess what? You will go back, according to the research and a lot of experience, you will go back recharged, re-energized, refreshed with new ideas. You will have more. You will bring more value back than when you went. So it's a very important thing. It's weird these days to talk about unplugging because no one thinks they can do it, but it's vital to our health, our sanity, and our resilience.
What's your 2-minute routine in the morning?
Every morning I start the day by answering 3 questions. I will let go of, I am grateful for, and I will focus on. I will let go of crystallizes and injects in anxiety. I am grateful for, helps practice our brains thinking about the positive, and I will focus on, gets us away from the distraction machine, and helps us decide one thing we're going to do each day. These are simple tools in the book, Tracy, but they are helping to thicken our skin because right now we are too fragile and we need help.
So if we are not intentional about these things, what I've noticed is if I'm not intentional about it, I just go down the rabbit hole. You're just letting life whip you around any which way. You're letting all of your apps take over your life.
And they never stop scrolling purposely to get you addicted.
That's right.
So you got to take control.
You got to take control.